morning. We can give the rest of the team about 2 minutes and then we start at exactly 9:10 a.m. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our last session for this training. I think you can be able to start even as the rest join us as we go. Um, I hope that we've been able to learn a lot throughout these sessions and we are able to implement whatever we've been covering throughout the week into our practice. So without further much ado, I'll hand it over to Thomas. You can start the training.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning once again. My name is Thomas and I'll be taking you through the session for today. So today we will be looking at generative AI for teaching and research. And I also understand that we had done something similar, or the team from Microsoft had done something similar in one of our previous classes on AI for research productivity. So this will just be some sort of add-on to that. So let me just share my screen and kindly do a thumbs up so that I can know whether or not you can see what I'm presenting. So Stephanie, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. So as I mentioned, today we'll be looking at generative AI for teaching and research. And I bet almost everyone here, or most of us, have definitely used generative AI for our teaching and for our research. So for the learning outcomes, we'll be explaining what generative AI and large language models are and how they generate responses, because there is a way that happens. So we'll be looking at how these models, or how the large language models, the LLMs, are able to do that. We'll also describe the strengths, limitations, and risks of AI in academic contexts. We'll apply structured prompt engineering techniques and refine AI outputs iteratively to improve quality and relevance, and use AI to support teaching and research tasks, such as if you want to create a lesson design, literature summaries, or if you want something as basic as maybe as your resume or your career development plan. I will do that. Theme extraction, research question development, which I believe you might have done in your in one of our sessions that I mentioned for AI in AI for research productivity. So what is generative AI? So in a nutshell, this is a type of artificial intelligence that can create new content, such as text, images, audio, video, or code by learning patterns from existing data. So generative AI models are trained on large datasets and learn patterns, language structure, and relationships. They then use this knowledge to generate new content based on prompts or instructions. So one thing you'll quickly notice here is that we normally use like large data sets for training, or rather for training the models, and then from there they are able to create new content based on what you have prompted it. So for the data, we normally say that you have to have the correct data, because if you use data that is not correct, you'll definitely get data or outputs that are wrong, whereby we have like garbage in and garbage out. So for the person who is training the model, or for the data scientists that actually do this part, they have to ensure that they have the correct data or the correct information, so that you can get the correct output out of it. So we look at how this actually happens. So the language structure, how each text is arranged, and how the models arrange this to get the outputs. So we'll start by looking at the large language models. So at the core of generative AI, the large language models, the LLMs, and their more compact relations, small language models, the SLMs, encapsulate the linguistic and semantic relationships between the words and phrases in a vocabulary. So the model can use these relationships to reason over natural language input and generate meaningful and relevant responses. So fundamentally, LLMs, or the large language models, are trained to generate completions based on prompts. So you can think of them as being super powerful examples of the predictive text feature on many cell phones. So a prompt starts a sequence of text predictions that results in a semantically correct completion. So the trick here is that the model understands the relationships between words, and it can identify which words in the sequence so far are most likely to influence the next one. So, and then they use this one to predict the most probable continuation of the sequence. So they, so in a very simple way, based on what you have written, or based on like the training data that has been provided, they use they use the sentences or the words that you have used to sort of predict what the most probable words that will follow those words. So we'll look at that. So a basic example here will be a sentence like, I heard a dog bark loudly at a cat. So we are trying to see how the prediction is made, or how they actually do this. So a good example would be this simple sentence here. Of course, they can get complex as you go, because this is just a very simple question, a very simple sentence rather. But as you proceed, because I know we have definitely like used very complex questions or very complex prompts, but this will be a good one to look at, and then we'll see how the response is generated. So suppose we only had the first few words being I had a dog without the last part, bark loudly at a cat. We know that some of these words are more helpful clues as to what the next word might be than others. So we know that had and dog are strong indicators of what comes next, and that helps us narrow down the probabilities. We know that there is a good chance the sentence will continue as I had a dog bark. So even if you did not have the last part, you only had the first part being I had a dog, then the most probable action after that, or other sentence or word after that, will be you had a dog bark. So it could be you had a dog walking, it could be you had a dog do something else, but the most probable one, or the most probable one will be you hearing a dog bark. So we are able to guess the next words because we have a large vocabulary of words to draw from. We also have learned common linguistic structures, so we know how words relate to one another in meaningful sentences, and we also have an understanding of semantic concepts associated with words. So just to understand this in a very simple way is that we are able to sort of guess the next phrase of words or the next sequence of words based on the first one. So we'll now look at tokenization. So the latest generation of LLMs, or large language models, have vocabularies that consist of hundreds of thousands of tokens based on large volumes of training data from across the internet and other sources. So while we tend to think of language in terms of words, LLMs break down their vocabulary into tokens. So these tokens include words, but also subwords like the in unbelievable and unlikely. So punctuation and other commonly used sequences of characters. The first step in training a large language model, therefore, is to break down the training text into its distinct tokens and assign a unique integer identifier to each one of them, like the sentence that we are going to break down into tokens and look at. So you're saying that the sentence is normally broken down into distinct tokens, and then it's assigned a unique integer identifier. So going back to our sentence, it was I had a dog bark loudly at a cat. So we have broken this one down into tokens, and then we'll assign unique identifiers to each token. So the first one is I, the second one is had, the other one is and then dog bark loudly at a cat. So looking at all of these tokens, the 8 tokens, you'll notice that each one of them has a unique identifier. But for the third one, we have the and then for the second last one, you also have an So this one will not be repeated because it was already assigned. So assuming you also had an identical token also somewhere around somewhere in our sentence, then we will also use the same value or the same integer to assign it. So you'll not repeat the assigning of the integer. So as you add more training data, more tokens will be added to the vocabulary and then assigned identifiers. So we look at AI strengths in academic contexts. So we have improved learning support. So tools powered by artificial intelligence can explain complex concepts in simple terms. So this definitely is being a newer field, or being something that has not been here for a long time. You notice that nowadays for students, they are able to grasp context faster. So looking at my example, I did a course in mathematics and economics, and by then we did not have this functionality, or AI was not as advanced as it is now. But assuming we had that we had this at that time, then things would have been very easy, because I'll just be going to whatever tool I'm using, and then I'll look for a specific use case or a specific problem in mathematics that I'm not getting. So for example, differential calculus, or maybe something in probability, and I will specify what exactly I would want explained, and then it will do that in a very simple way that a normal human being probably will not be able to do that. So for students, or even for lecturers, or for anyone who's trying to learn something, be it in research, be it in normal academia, then it definitely helps you a lot to actually grasp concepts easier, because not everyone, as I mentioned, is not able to explain is able to explain things as easier as they should be explained. So number two, one of the AI strengths in academic context is that we have increased productivity. So it can help students and researchers summarize long text, generate ideas or outlines. So if you have a very long document, or maybe a very long text, and you'd want a summary for that, this is definitely something you can do, which I believe we all have done at some point, and we can get even outlines or maybe pointers to, or summaries to search long text. And then number three, accessibility. So artificial intelligence improves access to education by supporting language translation, assisting learners with disabilities, for example, text to speech, and providing learning resources anytime, anywhere. So I don't have to have like a physical book on differential calculus, or maybe on differential calculus, or maybe measure theory, or whichever concept that I'm trying to learn. As long as I have access to the internet, this is something I can specifically do anywhere. And then lastly, we have research enhancement. AI tools can analyze large data sets quickly, identify patterns and trends, and support literature reviews. Again, this might be limited to the kind of plan that you have, because again, not everything is it definitely does have, some of the tools definitely have a limit to what you can use, because some of them might require you to have a subscription plan. But if you can get that, then some of these complex tasks can definitely be done easily, or can definitely be done easily for you. So those are some of the strengths. Again, they might be as many as possible, but these are some of them. These are some of the easiest ones that I could come up with. And then we look at the limitations of AI in academic context. So these are things that you have definitely encountered, because right now students are more advanced and they'll try to use AI as much as possible. But we'll now look at the limitations that being a lecturer or being an educator you might have faced. So one is lack of true understanding. So AI does not understand content like humans, as it only predicts patterns, as we looked at our previous sentences there. This can lead to superficial explanations and misinterpretation of complex topics. So they do not like AI does not have like the human capability, or the human context that a normal human being would have, as it only predicts patterns. So it looks at data, or once it's given data, it uses that data to predict a pattern, and that the results might lack the human understanding, or the human aspect that a normal person would have. So at times, I know you have also encountered this, whereby you search for something, and even looking at it, you notice that some things are a little bit off. So you'll have to tell it to change a few things, and at times it might get it correct, but at times it does not do that. So this is one of the limitations. Secondly, dependence on data quality. AI outputs are only as good as data it was trained on. Incomplete or biased data can lead to flawed results. So I think I mentioned this as I was starting. So whereby you mentioned that you need the correct data for the training part, so that you can get the correct data for your output. So if you give it data that is not correct, or data that is biased, then you'll definitely get flawed results. And then number three, limited critical thinking. So over reliance on AI can reduce independent thinking and problem solving skills. So this is something I know you have definitely encountered, because for the students, even if I was a student at this time, and then I'm given for example, a research question, or maybe an essay on maybe African economic problems, because that is one of the topics that we did in campus. especially for the theory topics. You'll find that most of the students, if not all, they won't even try first. For example, they will not even try to attempt it on their own. Just go and write the entire research question on ChatGPT or whichever generative AI tool they are using, and then they get the output. So at times, we get this risk, or there is this risk of over reliance on AI, whereby our own independent thinking is limited because people do not want to to do the heavy lifting. So this is also a discussion point whereby we normally ask what is the balance between making your work easier and being over reliant on AI. And then lastly, you have inconsistency. So artificial intelligence may give different answers to the same question and occasionally produce incorrect or fabricated information. So even as we are doing the research, or even as we are using some of these tools, it's also very important for you to counter check and to ensure that the information that you have is correct. So a good example, or a simple example would be, let's say if I was to search for a simple question, or maybe a simple prompt as who was maybe the first vice president of, or maybe the first vice president of Kenya. And then I got, for example, I get a different answer from someone who was also searching for the same thing. So it's important for us to counter check the results that we get, to ensure that the results are correct. So if I was to, for example, me and Stephanie, if we were to search for that, and Stephanie, for example, gets an answer like Moi Kibaki, and then I also do the same and get an answer like Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, then it means that one of us definitely got the wrong answer, or maybe all of us, assuming that I did not get the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, got different answers. So someone was mentioning something about some of the tasks that some of these students or some of the trainees are given, for example, in CBC. So there was an assignment the person was given, or the trainee was given, whereby they were told to come up with pictures, a document that has pictures of the presidents and the vice presidents of the Republic of Kenya from the first one up to now. And then they definitely went and keyed in the prompt, which is definitely very easy. You just type names and pictures of president and vice presidents of Kenya from, for example, from 1963, or from for example, the first one. So the person found out that at some point, for example, for Mudavadi, the name was correct, but the image was wrong. So for some of the people, the names are correct, but the images have been interchanged, whereby you get the face of someone has been changed or has been replaced with another one. So since you know how the person looked like, then it becomes very easy for you to know that that some of the answers or some of the outputs that you are getting are not correct. So you have to be very careful with some of these things to ensure that you verify the information before you present it, or before you use it for your final submissions. So we look at prompt engineering techniques. So when you bake a cake, we need the right ingredients. When writing a useful prompt, you need the right ingredients also. So making good prompts helps the AI give better answers, or the AI tool that you are using give you better answers. So if your prompts are clear, then the AI tool you are using understands what you want. So you start with the goal. So you start with what you want the generative AI assistant to do for you. So if you are clear, the AI can give you a better answer. So for example, if you need to know about a topic, so say exactly what you want. So instead of being vague and saying, tell me about AI, you try saying something like, explain the top 5 benefits of AI in healthcare. So that is a little bit more detailed. And then you can cite the source. So share where you want to look for the information. A source helps AI give better answers. So for example, if you want to use medical journals, write it out like explain the top 5 benefits of AI in healthcare. and then you use medical journals from 2024 and 2025. So you can see where you started from. So you started from tell me about AI, which was a very generic prompt. And then we went to explain the top 5 benefits of AI in healthcare. And then we made it better by actually telling it to focus on a specific source. So whereby we told it to use medical journals from 2024 and 2025. And this also applies to this applies to the research questions that you also use, or that I might use when doing some of the research that I want to use. I can tell it to focus on a specific paper that was done by maybe someone from this period, or maybe research papers that were done from maybe from the period 2000 to 2005. So that helps it narrow down its relevance points. So we move now to context. So add extra information to make the answer more useful. So context helps AI understand better and give a good answer. So for example, if you also go back to our AI in healthcare example, you could add, I'm writing a paper on AI in healthcare, explain the top 5 benefits of AI in healthcare, and then use medical journals from 2024 and 2025. We now move to expectations. So say what kind of answer you want. So this helps AI know if you want a short answer, a long explanation, or a list. So for example, you could say, I'm writing a paper on AI in healthcare, explain the top 5 benefits of AI in healthcare, use medical journals from 2024 and 2025, and then provide a summary for each article. So this specific one is very important because the more, if I go back to what I was talking about for the ones that you need to pay, you'll notice that if you have used some of these tools for quite some time, you'll notice that it gets to a point whereby it requests you to either to wait for some time. So for example, if right now it's 9:36, if I had used quite a number of prompts, it tells me to either subscribe or maybe subscribe to, or maybe get a paid plan, or alternatively it downgrades the version that I'm using. So if I was using a higher version, it lowers it a little bit, or it can also tell you to wait for a few hours before you can continue using it. So it's important for you to get your prompts correctly before you get them to, or before you key them into your AI tool, to reduce the number of times you have to correct your prompts. So if you keep on correcting your prompts, then it definitely means that if you're using a free account, you'll exhaust your tokens, and you'd have to either wait for some time, or maybe pay for the plans that they have. So using these tips will help you make prompts that get good answers. So remember to be clear about what you want, explain where you want to get the information, and add the extra details. Say what kind of answer you need. So this way you can work better with AI and get the information that you need. So this might seem as trivial, but for someone who has not done this, because I believe most of us have definitely done this. So for someone who has not done this for quite some time, it's important for you to really focus on this, because it also saves your time, so that you don't have to keep on correcting it. So just ensure that before you actually key in one more time, just ensure that you have the right prompt, and it's as detailed as possible, so that you don't exhaust your tokens. So we'll do a simple exercise here, and then I'll leave one for you. So for this one, I'll want us to we'll be creating our career development plan. So for this one, we will we'll come up with the short and long-term career goals, and then we'll assess our skills. So I'm going to list so this will be an example. So I'm going to list my current skills and identify any gaps that I might have. And then we generate a career plan. So using a generative AI tool, I'm going to create a career development plan and then include the steps that I'm going to, the steps to acquire new skills, a progression of potential job roles and networking opportunities. And then I'm going to review this and adjust it to ensure that it meets whatever I want. So this will just be an example, but you can use this one to come up with, for example, a lesson plan or any other document that you'd want to come up with, be it a research question or anything that is relevant to your field. So I'm just going to pause here for a minute and then share with you this part, and then I'm going to give you another one. So just a minute. So I'm pasting this on our chat. Yeah, so we are trying to create a career development plan. So I'm going to define my short-term and long-term career goals, and then list the current skills and identify any gaps that I might have. And then I'm going to see whether or not we are able to come up with that. So I've just shared with you the task there, so you can do it as I do mine. So definitely it will be different for each one of us. So you can use whichever generative AI tool that you are comfortable with. So I believe the most appropriate one for me will be, I'll just go with ChatGPT, but you can use Copilot, you can use Gemini, you can use Claude. So depending with what you're comfortable with. So a minute, I share my screen. So this is what we currently have. So we are trying to create a career development plan. So it definitely will be different for everyone. And we are saying that you don't have to create this, you can come up with something different. So we are trying to see whether or not we can actually get everything in one prompt without having to correct it, and also use the training, the prompting techniques that we just talked about. So we start by setting our goals. So I'll just start by saying that I want to create a career development plan. So I want to, I'll start by setting my short-term and short and long-term career goals. So for the short term, we have the short-term and long-term career goals. And then we go to current skills. Then you go to the gaps. Okay, I think we can start with this. So we'll pick the role of our data analyst. So I want to create a career development plan for data analysts. So short-term career goals is we can say that so earn 3 Microsoft certifications in data engineering and maybe data science. Then long-term career goals can say maybe chief data officer in 5 years. Then you say current skills, you can say proficiency so can list some of the tools that you're proficient in. So don't hold this, may take some bit of time, but once we get it right, we should be done with this part. Can say so what are some of the gaps? So for some of the gaps, you can list some of the gaps that you have in your so I can say data warehousing, then the steps to acquire the new skills. So sign up for advanced data engineering classes. Sign up for master's degree program in, for example, business intelligence. You can also list something like something as basic as networking, attend more related networking events. So the steps to acquire new skills, we said I'll sign up for advanced data engineering classes, sign up for a master's degree program in business intelligence, Strathmore University, and then attend more related networking events. So let's see what we'll have after this. So career development plan for data analyst. So this is your personal information. Definitely you can include your name as you include the prompt. But the career path is for a data analyst, career position, data analyst / business intelligence professional. So the career aspiration is that you want to become a chief data officer. And then the career vision to become a highly skilled data professional capable of leading enterprise-wide strategy, governance, analytics, and innovation initiatives, ultimately attaining the role of chief data officer within the next 5 years. So the career skills assessment. So this is where this person is currently at. So some of the technical skills that the person has listed here or have been listed here. You have data visualization using the following tools: Power BI, Tableau, SQL database development and querying, SQL SQL Server integration services. Then you have Microsoft Fabric, business intelligence and reporting, data analysis and insights generation, and then you have the professional skills. They also have been listed there. Then we have the career goals or the short-term career goals. Number 1, and 3 Microsoft certifications in data engineering, data science. So the targeted certifications have also been listed here, starting with the one for Fabric, and then we have one for the data science, and then lastly one for data analyst, data engineer associate, and this one should be done within 12 to, the timeline for this is 12 to 24 months. The expected outcome is 1, strengthen my expertise in data engineering and data science, improve the capability to design and manage enterprise data solutions. And then number 3, enhance professional credibility and employability, assuming this is where I want to go. So you can either decide to go the employment route, or you can decide to go the consultancy route. So depending with where you want your career to go, this is something you can definitely pick. Then moving on to the long-term career goal plan. This one is for about 3 to 5 years. And then remember, you can always tweak this to fit the period that you want. So the goal is to become a chief data officer. So the timeline is 5 years. The expected outcome is lead organizational data strategy and governance, and then drive data-driven transformation initiatives, and then manage data engineering, analytics, AI, and governance teams, then influence executive level business decisions using data. So the skills gap analysis. So this one shows where you are, where this person is currently at, the required competency, and the gap identified. So you start with data visualization. The required competency is advanced data architecture. So it is moderate here. And then you have the SQL and business intelligence, and then the required competency, has also been identified there. So you can definitely look at this, and then you go to the primary skill gap. So it shows you the primary skill gap. I had mentioned something to do with data warehousing. So again, it can change with the different career paths that you have chosen. And then you have the development activities, you have the technical development. So it has listed for you the actions, the action or the steps that you're supposed to take. One being enrolling in advanced data engineering classes, and the others have also been listed there, and also the timeline has been done for you, and the success measure. So how do we know that you have actually been successful in this? 1, completion of training and implementation of at least 2 practical projects. So this being a very technical field, the best way, the best way for you for us to know whether or not this person has actually succeeded in this step is for them to do at least 2, or rather to implement 2 practical projects. Then activity number 2, data warehousing, and then it also has its success measure, which is designing and deploying a complete data warehouse solution. And then we have the academic development over here, whereby we mentioned that this person wants to sign up for a master's degree in business intelligence in Strathmore University. And these are also the steps that the person will take. So in a nutshell, this is something that you can create, and it can be of help to you and to anyone who needs something similar. So up to that point, is there any question? So George is saying there are members who want to access the workshop but can't through the provided link. So I'm not sure where the problem might be. This is quite unfortunate, and Yeah, I'm not sure where the problem might be, but something that you can do is immediately after this, I can send the recording, and the recording should be accessible to everyone. So I can download I'll download the recording and share it with you, and that one should be accessible to everyone, even those who are not on this call right now. So I understand that as I had mentioned earlier, that this is that we had done something similar on something more advanced on AIs for research productivity, but we just saw it fit to cover something on generative AI to see exactly how these prompts are evaluated and how these tools actually get the results after we have prompted them. So anyone with a question up to that point? So then at this point, I don't know if Dan is on the call. So Dan, are you on the call? Hi Dan, is Dan on the call? Because he was supposed to communicate some. Sorry?
I don't think so.
Okay. So thank you, Stephanie. So Dan is supposed to communicate something on the post-training part, because this is this has been our last session. So Dan is supposed to communicate something on what happens next after this. So I believe he'll do that once he gets the information. But from my team and from everyone who has been conducting the training, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for finding time to. Yes, James.
Not James. I'm just using a different machine. My name is David.
It's okay.
I just wanted to ask a question based on this Gen AI.
Yes.
You find that when you use it for some time, it tends to learn from you.
Yes.
How do we prevent that learning interfering with our future engagement with the Gen AI?
Because I seem to have lost you there.
I'm asking, you find that the prompt we give and the response we get, it seems to be customized. It seems to be personalized to how we have been engaging with the system. How can we prevent? Huh? You're not getting my question.
I got you, but I lost you after. How can we prevent? From there, I seem to have lost you.
Yes, I just wanted to know the response we get sometimes is influenced by what we have been doing with the system. Yes. So how do we prevent that so that we get a more general response that is not kind of customized to what we have been working with, what we have been doing with the system? I tend to find it very annoying sometimes. Yeah, you're asking a very general thing, and then it gives you something that is aligning to what you have been doing with the system.
Oh, okay. I think I get your question now. So if you have been using, for example, ChatGPT for maybe the whole year, and then you ask something very generic, and then it tailor makes your answer based on, or maybe it references your answer based on something you had searched before.
Yes.
Okay. So I think for that one, I think you'd have to tell it once again, not to reference that part, and it should be able to do that. And then another thing is that someone was also asking. So for example, if you feed it with information, for example, sensitive data, someone was asking, are you able to actually get the information like out of it? Like, for example, are you able to delete it from the history, or from, for example, from the model completely? So at times it tells you that it has deleted, but I'm not really sure if that is possible. So if you are to upload something that is very sensitive, for example, for your organization, and you realize that you made a mistake and you're not supposed to upload that file there. So the person was asking, are you able to delete it from the model or maybe from the internet completely? So it tells you that it has done that, but I'm not really sure if that is possible. But going back to your question, I think the easiest way will be to just tell it to not focus on that part and make it as generic as possible. So have you tried that, and does it work? Like you just tell it
Yeah, we work, but what I've noted is that it's more like learning from me. And therefore, the kind of response I get, if I give you my prompt, you use it, you won't get the same thing, because the response I'll get is basically on what I've been doing with that system. So is it localized, this learning? How I thought this is an open space. Is it localized to those who are using it, or does it depend on my account?
It depends with your account, because if you're using, for example, if you have been using the same account whereby you just log in with your credentials, it automatically learns from what you have been feeding it from the time you started up to where you are currently. So that's why you are getting like information that is specifically tied to you. So for example, if I was to search for a career development plan maybe next week, it will pick that. It will pick my role as a data analyst, and it will automatically, without even saying that I want a career development plan for a data analyst, it will automatically pick that from what I've been searching or from what I've been giving it. I'm definitely a data analyst.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you for that question.
Okay, the final one, huh?
Yes.
Just give more details about this the thinking aspect of predictive Gen AI. What is it? Sometimes you say reasoning, thinking, and how does it impact on the responses that we get?
Okay, so in simple terms, it works by, so for example, if we focus on let's say ChatGPT, we actually have like real people who or let me call them data scientists who actually train the model. So by training, we mean that they actually key in large data sets, so like millions and millions of data, and then there is a way that the data has been how do I say this? Like it has been like there is a sort of sequence in how for example, if you prompt something the way we talked about our dog barking in our previous example, there is a way the model or the model or the tool actually predicts like what will come next. So just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. So I was saying there is a way after the training. For example, if the data scientists at ChatGPT have actually keyed in the millions and billions of data, there is a way actually the sentences or there is a way, for example, from the prompt that you have given, it actually predicts automatically and gives you the output. I'm sure that I'm not really giving you the exact answer that you want. I'm not sure how to explain it in simple English, but in a nutshell is you first of all need the data, and then now from that data, based on what you have prompted or based on what you have asked, there is a way they actually like there is some sort of sequence, and then from that sequence you're able to get the information that you want.
Yeah, I think maybe I've not understood your explanation. The thinking aspect, because sometimes you can get a very quick response if you want, and sometimes if you like, you can extend the thinking so that it can think for some time. So does it means this thinking is linked to the different models they are using for predicting, or what is this thinking?
So if I was to talk specifically on ChatGPT, it definitely has like different models, and the different models are tied to, for example, what you have paid for. So if you remember in my explanation, for example, if you were to go to ChatGPT, you might find that they have, like, for example, maybe version 4, or maybe version 4, or maybe the latest version. And if you are to prompt on that one, you'll get like answers, or maybe the latest one. Your answers will be very fast, and you'll be getting like very good outputs out of it. But after some time, you'll realize that it downgrades you to the lower version if you have not paid for that. So if you are to continue prompting it without paying, it will just downgrade you to the lower version, whereby your answers or your prompts will be, not your prompts, your answers or your outputs will be taking longer to load, and it definitely affects the time that it takes to actually get your answers. So just to answer you, yeah, they have different models, and just within ChatGPT, for example, they have different models or versions, and the different versions take longer time to get your output.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Stephanie, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to add in terms of the question that David had posed is he doesn't want the AI model to use his previous information. There are two options. You can put that instructions as one of the things. People don't use the memory from the previous chats that we've had, or you can start a new temporary chat. So it's like you're running on an incognito browser. So there's usually a temporary icon there. So it doesn't use any of the memory or the chats that you've used previously. It's a kind of, you're starting afresh.
So thank you, Stephanie, for that also. So if we don't have any other question, I'll request Dan to speak to your team. So Daniel is asking, how about putting information on projects? So what do you exactly mean by that?
I think like that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what I meant is that we have projects where you can have the information on a compartment on an AI, and you put it as a project. So anytime you want, if you're working on that project for a while, anytime you want to enhance the project or work on it, you query from the project, not outside.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Yes, I don't know if that works or not. Can advise.
Also, I think I get you. So on the left side, I think we have the projects part. So I believe it should not. So if you had selected, maybe because it's in like sort of a folder way, whereby you can have like your different projects in different folders. So I think that should not in any way. For example, if you have maybe project A and project B, I think in the information that you have in project B should not, for example, in project A, if you are to search for something in project B, I think it should not relate. I think that should work also.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that suggestion also. Yeah, that should also work. Okay, so thank you so much for joining today's session. I'm going to speak to Dan, and then he's going to tell us what we are going to do post the training, post the trainings that we have just had. So once again, thank you so much for finding time and for engaging with us over the previous 3 or so weeks that we have been doing this. And we really hope that this has been insightful for you and for everyone in your team. I wish you a good day and hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.